group we've ever seen, I think.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, do you want to introduce yourselves and then we'll proceed?
I'm Bob Dowd, Director of VMA.
I'm Gary Verna, Chief of HazMat.
Okay, got it.
We are here for three things this morning. First is to ask the commissioners to sign by resolution, authorize me to execute hazard mitigation grant documents for reimbursement moving forward. The commissioners have already, you guys have already approved the grant which we've applied for. This just allows me to sign for reimbursement requests as they come in.
I'll make a motion to authorize Bob Dowd as the signatory for the
On hazard, on this specific grant.
On this specific grant, the hazard mitigation grant program.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we grant that signing privilege. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so ordered.
I'm going to apologize for the amount I have in advance.
Take your time.
The first thing I have is the Hazardous Material Emergency Response Preparedness Report. The state, specifically PEMA, took two end-of-the-year reports and combined them into one, the Hazardous Materials Response Report and the Hazardous Materials Exercise Planning Report, and combine it into one to make it easier on the HazMat teams to, I guess, so there's not as much paperwork.
Eliminate duplication.
Theoretically.
Yes, theoretically. What this does is helps identify our financial need from the money we get from the state. This was submitted, the due date was the 15th, so all I'm going to need is a signature on this. It takes last year's report and then the projected for this year with financials. So
The actual we're asking for is asking for the commissioners to approve the report as presented.
Did we review the report?
You had a copy of
Should
that.
have, yeah.
Did we?
yeah, you should have had a copy of that.
Is there anything you want to walk through? Any highlights?
Well,
You wanna
the
talk about
highlights,
those?
I identified three more SARE facilities that needed to report as far as with plans, with the emergency plans, under the Tier 2, Section 302. They're not exempt, or they're exempt facilities, which means they're exempt from paying the fees, which in turn is good for us because the more exempt facilities we have generally, that in turn results in the monies coming from the state. So that's new for this year. We've identified from last year to this year, there was an increase in chemicals that we identified that were being stored by something like 6. And generally what we found, the reason why there was new facilities needing to be, that reported this year versus previous years, because people just didn't know that they needed to report. And through our outreach program for the Title III, that's how we identified them. So
You're doing 52. You're maintaining 52 plans. Is that what I saw?
yeah, 52, yes.
Okay, and those
yes,
you just have
are
to
being
keep on
developed
top of
and,
those
and yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Sarah plans.
Yes, yes. That's for any facility with extremely hazardous substances over their threshold planning quantity. So there's 53 of them in the county.
And I see where you're going to have cylinders expiring
Oh,
in
yes.
2020 for
Yes.
$83,000.
Yes. They were originally purchased with the task force, through the South Central Task Force. It is unclear yet how those are going to be replaced. If it is something that the HazMat team has to replace out of their own fund, we're going to budget that and do a step instead of all at once. I think that would be the most financially responsible thing if that has to come from us. So.
And I'd just like to say, I think the most powerful statement in here to substantiate the need for a local hazmat team every day there's transportation of hazardous substances within Lebanon County.
Yes.
That's a very powerful statement.
We have major interstates and major thoroughfares through our county. It's just something you can't avoid. So, we always have to be prepared to deal if something like that happens, involving one of them happens.
I appreciate your diligence.
Thank you.
One more key point on this report. It does, at the same time, any new LEPC members are required to be appointed by the commissioners to the state. This report does that. And it's just a list of any new LEPC members.
Jim?
The HazMat team, the paragraph G in here, the HazMat team, we outlined the numbers and so on. Is that, I'm assuming those are increased numbers over last year. So your team's in pretty good shape.
When I was hired, we had 6 members. We now have over 30. And 13 of those are trained to the tech level. And I have 2 specialists, which is excellent. There's a lot of teams that, if they're lucky, have 1 specialist because that's 40 hours of extra training that sometimes you can't get it locally and you have to go somewhere else. Those members did it on their own dime. So very, very proud of that. And then 15 operations level. And out of those 15 operations level members, there's 3 levels of hazardous materials. There's awareness, operations, and technician. Out of those 15, 10 of them are scheduled to go for their tech training, so that'll put us at 25 technicians.
Wow.
So,
When,
What a turnaround.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
that's the members, it's not just me, it's the members, so.
when we were recertified, part of getting that done was an agreement with Lancaster County.
Yes, sir.
Do we still have to lean on that, or are
No,
we out of
not
that?
at all.
Okay.
As of January 1st of this year, we let that agreement expire. We are now self-sufficient.
Okay,
We
very
do
good.
still have a mutual aid agreement,
Right.
when requested with the other 4 regional teams.
But that's typical.
That's through the task
Wow,
force.
that's awesome. All good. Anything
Thank-
else? John?
Just one question to be clear. These 30 people you talked about, they're volunteers?
All volunteers, all volunteers. With the exception of,
A couple of the EMA staff members assist as well, but the majority of the team is made up of volunteers in their daily
it's
responses.
all volunteer,
For that
without the
function,
volunteers.
yeah.
Yes, without the volunteers, it wouldn't be able to do
It's
this.
incredible.
We provide the gear, and we provide the
Training gear.
training, and any. They're also covered under our workers' comp in the event that they are somehow injured,
Yes.
responding or handling a call.
Yes.
So we could give them the coverage.
So they've I can't say enough about them. I've put in time requirements and they've met it without a problem. So from my deputy chief all the way down to my scene support, it's just, I couldn't ask for a better group of people. So,
Thank you.
We couldn't be prouder of what you've done with that. Thank you.
thank you.
And, so let's take a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to adopt the report as presented by HazMat.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any additional questions or comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Number 3.
The next thing I have is the Radiation Emergency Response Grant, commonly known as the RERF grant. We've been awarded $15,067 this year, and this is going to go to calibration of our radiation equipment. We want to upgrade our decontamination showers and upgrade some things in the Emergency Operations Center. I'm asking for approval to put in for this grant.
I'll make that motion first to allow HazMat to, what did you say, the E, what is it?
The RERF, they're,
RERF.
yeah.
Okay.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded.
Actually, just one more.
Yeah, one more.
I thought.
Go ahead and take your.
We get to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to add something to that motion.
No, I
All in
apologize.
favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
No, actually, the 4th item.
Number 4.
Can we send you to mathematics.
The
straight.
table.
Yeah,
Where we met,
I'll
1
practice
plus
later on.
3.
The trans car yet, right?
that's the last one. yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, the last thing I want, or I'm asking, is on May 16th, we're having a trans car tabletop exercise. It's open to every single municipality, every public safety in the county. We are focusing on 8th Street and the railroad because it's the most highly populated area, and there's 4 schools within the mile radius of that railroad. And this focuses on an incident by rail. If something were to happen, you know, how would we respond to that, and how are we going to act on that? This was part of that HMEP grant I was here in front of
Several months ago.
a couple months ago. This grant here helps pay for the facility to have it and food for the people attending. I would like to put in for $1,000. It's non-matching. It comes straight from the Trans Car organization. It's a national organization, and this is something that they put out for
Do you have the time and the place?
May 16th
I've got
at
that.
the Hebron Fire Company at the banquet facility.
And the time?
1800 hours, 1830 hours, 6:30 p.m.
6:30 PM.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's primary day also.
Oops.
Say that again.
It's primary day also.
Election day.
I just keep losing, don't I?
No, you don't.
No, we just won't vote, that's fine. Anything else there, Gary?
No, sir.
That's it? Okay, we'll seek a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the tabletop exercise funds and facility expenses at a cost of $1,000 to apply to Transcar, I think it was.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you leave, I just want to thank, I'm making an assumption, speaking on behalf of my